I got my boom plays, sleepers, and streamers for week 5 coming at you right now. Now for my boom play. Now, it might sound like I'm going against the grain here, but it has to be Chuba Hubbard. He is making another appearance in one of my videos and making an appearance on one of my podcasts where I'm saying Chuba Hubbard needs to be taken serious. These last 2 weeks, he has averaged 25 fantasy points per game. He is currently chilling at the RB3 position in the last 2 weeks. When we're looking at this Panthers offense, first of all, we got to give respect to Andy Dalton and the Panthers O-line as well these last couple of weeks, because since he's taken over as the starter, this offense has been a top 5 rushing attack, top 5 in total yards, and a top 5 offensive scoring offense in the NFL. So therefore, Chuba Hubbard has the Bears this week, and they're not as scary as you may think they are on the ground going against the run, because look, Tony Pollard put up great numbers. Tony Pollard put up 18 fantasy points. You have Jonathan Taylor, who put up 26.5, and then you have Kyron Williams, who put up 20 points last week. Now, we're looking at this defense as a scary defense through the air, but on the ground, it is definitely possible for Chuba Hubbard to have an amazing week to follow up with 3 weeks in a row of an RB1 performance. Now to get into my sleepers for week 5, and first up, I got Josh Downs for the Indianapolis Colts, and hear me out when I say this. I am praying that Joe Flacco starts this week, but regardless of the starting position, they have the Jaguars defense, who are terrible against wide receivers. They're allowing the 4th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers, but man, putting up 22 fantasy points was highly impressive for Joe Flacco and Josh Downs to connect for a touchdown as well, but 22 fantasy points are the most fantasy points that the Pittsburgh Steelers have allowed to a wide receiver so far this season. So therefore, going into this week against the Jaguars, where this is a layup matchup, even if it is Anthony Richardson, Josh Downs still has the upside to put up some big fantasy points, especially with some notable wide receivers on bye right now and or injured. Josh Downs is a sleeper this week in week 5. Now, this might sound a little crazy, but a sleeper for me is at the quarterback position, and it's also across the pond. Hey, glory, Man United also, but it's Sam Darnold going against the Jets. Sounds crazy, man. The Jets defense, they're this big, bad, scary defense. I understand it, but so far this season, they have not been tested with a Sam Darnold. He is playing amazing football right now, 11-1 when it comes to touchdowns and interceptions the last couple weeks. It is insane when you look at Sam Darnold, what he's doing with an incomplete offense, by the way. This is with, TJ Hawkinson still waiting to get his return. He got Jordan Addison back last week. He had a half where Justin Jefferson basically was unavailable to the offense, and you also have to give credit to this O-line protecting Sam Darnold. This is the best O-line he's had in his entire NFL career. And hey, Aaron Jones is still going out there running like he did late last season. So the energy is there. Everything is going right for Sam Darnold. And listen, this Jets defense, they only face Brock Purdy as their biggest threat, and that was week 1. Other than that, you have Will Levis, you have Bo Nix, and Jacoby Brissett. This is real nasty work here. Sam Darnold, go out there and light it up for me, man. Now to get into my streamers really quick, I got 2 wide receivers that bring the same amount of upside to the table. If you're looking for some boom off your bench this week or the couple weeks ahead, you're looking at Trey Tucker for the Vegas Raiders. Right now, you have the drama with Devontae Adams possibly being traded, but man, Trey Tucker these last 2 weeks, 19 fantasy points per game in the last 2 weeks, and he is a wide receiver they've been getting very creative with at the line of scrimmage as a deep threat. There's been a lot of areas of this offense where I think they can improve that, but Trey Tucker is a safe bet as a solid wide receiver 3/flex if you're looking for a wide receiver to sneak in this week. Now for another streaming option, Tutu Atwell for the LA Rams. Now, I know it probably looks crazy trying to figure out which wide receiver you should target, which wide receiver you should put in your starting lineups, but what we know with the information we have been given since Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp have been down with injury is that Tutu Atwell is a guy that bails out Matthew Stafford when things are looking real wicked in the pocket. When he's under pressure or the offense is stalling and you're not getting much spark, he will look downfield for the big threat in Tutu Atwell, who could show up and show out when given opportunity. These last 2 weeks, he has really impressed me. He's playing his best football as a Ram so far his entire career. So I'm looking at this as a guy that can really bring some upside. The ceiling is high. He gets his fantasy points in chunks. So therefore, I like him as a deep threat, as a guy that can bring on the big fantasy points if you're looking for some spark off your bench. And also worth noting that Matthew Stafford likes to find guys like Tutu Atwell that can get him out of trouble. So he's becoming a reliable target where the target share could be healthy in the next coming weeks because we're still going to be a month without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. So this wraps up another great episode of RotoBaller Fantasy Sports YouTube channel. Please make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. Please leave your comments below about your start and sit questions, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can all the way up until game time. And you guys can follow me at Real Deal Fantasy on all social media platforms. Until next time.